As far as years go, 2011 was a pretty banging year. For me, it was when I entered high school, and I even left my country for my first long-haul vacation in sunny Florida. It was also the last year before my brain was flooded with this. Yeah, so I wasn't actively watching anime in 2011, it was slightly before my time as a fan, prior to my initiation into weeb culture. But I have gone back and over time watched a fair chunk of what the year had to offer. So as with previous entries in this QuickTaku original series, we're going to highlight some of the best anime that 2011 presented to the world. Starting with winter, there was a completely normal Mahou Shoujo anime that had absolutely no horrifying content whatsoever. Madoka Magica. It was tea parties and positive vibes all around, but of course no anime could get the #1 spot in a season if that's all it was packing. So actually Madoka Magica was pain and suffering the anime.
Yum.
The impact of this series echoed long past its original release in 2011, so much so that it was one of the first anime I watched, and I'm very glad I did. There was a lot of debate on if this anime was a deconstruction or not, for some completely pointless reason, but regardless of if it is or isn't, the anime does break down the typical formula of bright and happy magical girl series. It did an excellent job presenting a twisted and dark fantasy, showing the mental toll of facing impossible to overcome moments, and making decisions where both outcomes aren't desirable. Of course it isn't perfect, particularly the stuff that came after the original series, but the 2011 anime is definitely a must-watch. It's a visual and auditory spectacle that will keep you on your toes. Moving on then, another hit series also had its start in winter 2011. Not as many of you will have seen this one unless you're a degenerate like me. That's right, Infinite Stratos, baby. I have this theory that harem anime come about for an epiphany moment of figuring out how to single out a guy and put him in a population of females. But hey, I'm not complaining, it's a good setup. See, what I like about Infinite Stratos is there's global representation. We have a French girl,
Oui, oui, baguette.
a German girl, a Chinese girl, even a British girl who happens to be my least favourite.
Excuse me, are you British? Oh no.
Go figures. It's not exactly a great series, to be honest, but if like past me you can watch a series purely for its ecchi moments, then yeah, this will keep you busy. Otherwise there's better futuristic action series to watch. There were some other top-notch anime in winter too, like Kore wa Zombie Desu Ka and Gosick, but I actually haven't seen either of them sadly, which means it's the perfect time to move on to spring. This season was stacked for real. The headliner was none other than Steins Gate. You know, Steins Gate, the classic that has kind of set the bar for what a psychological drama anime can be. It keeps you gripped at every turn, has excellent characters that change in both subtle and dramatic ways, depending on the point you're at in the series. The atmospheres, plural, that Steins Gate creates just makes for an experience that is constantly evolving in tone. I often hear media described as thought-provoking or clever, and I can't really think of an anime that deserves that description more than Steins Gate. Oh, and the way certain shots are framed, they just get me every time I come back to watch this masterpiece. Blue Exorcist also aired. It's an action shonen that is relatively decent. I wouldn't say it's as stylistic as others in the category like Soul Eater, or as adventure-driven as something like One Piece, but it is fun, and can even get a little tense at parts. Not very memorable characters though, at least in my opinion. Now, Anohana was actually the first and only anime I watched in one sitting. I don't know why some people call it tear bait as if that's a negative for the series. I mean, if it did actually make you cry, it's either the result of strong character writing and good directing, or you're just a basic bitch. And if that's the case, that's not the fault of the series either. I'm not saying this is the perfect drama anime or anything, but I do believe it's pretty good. I love the setting, and I love the way it creates unity amongst a fairly fractured cast of characters. But if there's one series that I personally think deserves your time from spring 2011, it's Hanasaku Iraha. From the get-go, this is a beautiful anime in two regards. The little details in its visual presentation, from lighting to how it shows physical emotion, crafts something special. Stack that with the fact that this is a journey for a youth presenting its highs and lows in an honestly authentic way. Do you have an anime with moments that are ingrained in your mind that you can recall with vivid detail because of how well it coordinated different elements? That's Hanasaku Iraha for me. Other shows to shout out from spring include Nichijou, which I know, I need to watch. Also Dead Man Wonderland, which I probably didn't need to watch, but I actually did anyway. We've reached summer, which actually is a little weaker than previous seasons, honestly. Ha, no, just kidding. If you like comedy slice of life type deals, then you were eating so good. Yuri Yuri splashed onto screens for the first time, providing peak visual goofy fun. I love Doko Kobo, and this was the start of their signature bouncy and energetic animation. There was the second season of Backer and Test, which continued much the same antics of the first part. The mechanics of the battle system in Backer and Test is a great example of just how creative anime can be with something otherwise mundane. Elsewhere there was Penguin Drum, which I've only seen once, so I feel I'm slightly underqualified to talk about it properly because it was quite a while ago. It's a blend and clash of many different genres, cliches and ideas, but executes it all in an irresistible way. I really recommend it from what I remember. Lastly, for summer, it would be a crime not to mention The Idolmaster. I'm a big Idol guy, and as such, I know this is one of the best Idol anime period. It's a more realistic take on the industry than Love Live, but I wouldn't say that that is what makes it special. It's the way it structures the show to highlight each of the members of 765 Pro's personal problems and the way they overcome them. It's quite uplifting in that regard, but also I think the music slaps. So onwards to fall, or autumn as it's known in my part of the world, it also had its fair share of big hitters. Of course we'll start with ReZero,
Oh no!
because it's a pretty big deal. I think many people were introduced to Fate through this installment, and while I'm not as dedicated as some Fate fans might be, it really did capture my interest when I watched it. I think the fact that it handled itself so maturely, and yet doesn't lose the charms I associate with anime, made it stand out. Saber is pretty cool too, I guess. I hate to say it, but despite the sheer volume of top quality anime from fall 2011, such as Hunter x Hunter, Chihaya Furu, and Guilty Crown, I've seen none of these. Though what I have seen is K-On! The Movie, which did come out around this time. I'll just say it, it's the best anime travel movie. I've spoken about it at length elsewhere on the internet, but to put it simply, it captures that wonder of the unfamiliar better than anything else I've ever seen. Take this from a Brit, London's touristy side is portrayed bang on. There was also the second season of Working, which I'm only mentioning as I'm currently making my way through it and I just love it. The characters work so well together that despite it taking place largely in the same location, it feels fresh with each new episode. That's an overview of 2011 in anime. Good year, don't you think? Actually, it was probably even better than I made it out to be. After all, I'm only human, so I know I missed some stuff. If I did, be sure to let me know. Oh, and if you haven't already, this video forms part of a series going back to look at prior years in anime, so be sure to check out the other videos. They're on screen now. A big thanks from me for watching. I've been Russ, and well, have a great night or day.